Hello and welcome to this edition of the Under Center podcast. This is the latest episode in our Women in AFI series. We have completed 2 episodes so far. We've been delighted to talk to Kat Wallace from the UL Vikings and, of course, Evie Bennett from UCD and the South Dublin Panthers flag team and also the Irish Wolfhounds flag team. Congratulations to her and the rest of the Irish Wolfhounds taking part in the European Championships there last weekend in Limerick. A fantastic weekend. And the girls performed really, really well as the lads, of course, as well. Joining us on this edition of the show, we are delighted to welcome Chrissie McKee on the show. Chrissie, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing?
I am fantastic, thank you. Fantastic. It's a bit weird now because we're not talking in a AFI sort of, overall sense, looking forward to a game. The focus is solely on you now tonight.
Ooh, I'll take it. I'll not let my ego get too big. Be going back to the
Well,
guys demanding X, Y, and Z.
well, that's it now. Seeing is that we're talking about you and you can go and start asking for the bigger bucks now, seeing as you are the star of the show. I know we have local celebrity Chris there, but now it's podcast super guest Chrissy now, and I think that's going to
Oh
tear
yeah,
maybe a little above local celebrity. Yeah.
not in Chris's eyes, but
Well, look, listen, we'll sort Chris out. Don't worry. Chris talks a tough game, but he can be talked around. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. And of course, Dave. Media personality Dave now, because of course
media personality, Dave.
he's coming down to the Aviva on Sunday or Saturday, sorry, for the college football game representing Greenzone as the media representative there for the game. So I'm sure he's
Yeah.
excited for that too. So
Oh,
yeah,
he's buzzing.
some very yeah. Yeah, he's already texted me a few times asking about it in terms of, oh, can I park at yours and we go in together and stuff. And so, absolutely, we can, no problem, no problem. So yeah, actually, no, that should be looking forward to it because I'll be going down myself. I had tickets for it, and now we are the same. We got the one media pass, and now I'm going to be going to that. I was going to give it to Fionn, but Fionn can't make it, so he snoozes. I win, and that's it. Well, look, listen. Enough about that. We're talking about you. We're talking about you. Obviously, your time playing American football, and a bit before that, obviously, with your other sports interests as well. That has sort of seeped into sort of current day interests in terms of social media and stuff like that. But let's sort of start from the start then with you and American football. What got you interested in wanting to play the sport in the first place?
I think it's the same as everyone. You see the odd game on TV. You're like, what's this weird sport that kind of looks a lot like rugby? I'm lucky to have two cousins that I'm really close with. They're really big on American sports. Like it runs the whole gamut for them. And started watching Red Zone with them, and I got really, really into it. And naturally, we were a Patriots family because they supported the Patriots. Um, and then my interest more started to get into a bit of the college side. So the first college game that I watched and really paid attention to was actually the Rose Bowl. I can't remember the exact year, but it was Stanford and Iowa State. And Stanford get the ball off the kick return. First play of scrimmage, it's a check down to Christian McCaffrey. He runs it to the house and scores. And then it kind of the interest is built after that. And I actually got lucky that one of my old PTs was a coach at the Razorbacks, and he would start quizzing me on NFL teams to like get me through some exercises as a distraction. He's like, "Oh, we play just down the road. come and check us out. And I did. And then I got hooked on playing because you come from a rugby background and just let me hit something. And it just kind of continued there up until where we are now.
And obviously, it wasn't just the Razorbacks. You spent some time with the Knights, and then the Giants and the Jets. So you're kind of
Yeah,
going on a
I've been
tour of the
around.
northern teams. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
what is it? It's just
Some
the
people
the
like to bring it
Vipers
up.
and the Trojans left. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm like a pseudo Trojan now because the guys they've joined. So I'm gonna be there a lot. I've got a hat, I've got a t-shirt. I'll just sit at the side and have the barbecue.
Well, you're going to disappoint the lads down in Loud then, because you and Chris now are like honorary Mavericks for the
I know.
D1 Bowl as well.
I told them I'll get down. You know, me and the guys will make the road trip. Dawned and all our like merch we got for going on the bus. But it's you support your friends. Support local and slightly further afield.
Uh, well, so in the four teams that you played for, you kind of said off air that the Razorbacks were sort of at the start of COVID, so maybe you didn't get the sort of run you would have liked with them, but got a run with the Knights and the Giants and the Jets. Sort of, where did you, I guess, play the best football, or where did you feel like was the most fun to play with?
Definitely the Giants was fun. Giants was my first experience at actual reps. Like it's part of the Knights. I think the trying to remember what it was the after COVID year, you're allowed to play some friendly games. We played two friendlies against the Cowboys, and in those two games, I got 5 total snaps. And then it's like, right, let's, wipe the slate clean. Next season will be really good. It was training, was playing rugby at the same time, trying to get better. And I just wasn't getting any pitch time at all. Sitting there, it's like, I'd rather lose but play than win on the sidelines. So I knew a couple of guys like Carl McCallum and Adam from the Giants, and they had said, "Look, you come down here, you're getting on." Um, my first game, actually getting on, getting hits was so fun and so just like validating in that I'm good, I can do this, and the guys really appreciate it. That was definitely the most fun, but my issue was the travel. We would carpool on a Sunday up the North Coast, but that would be including travel and including training. There's 7 hours of a Sunday gone, and it just wasn't
Jeez.
getting feasible because I was playing. I was playing a full rugby season at that time too, so it'd be home like dead on a Sunday, like useless in work on a Monday, then straight to training on a Monday night. And I was just deflated. But I loved the guys at the Giants, absolutely love them. But it just wasn't worth the slow decline of whatever health I had.
That's fair enough. I do remember you definitely played the second Pirates game last year. Wasn't it down
Yeah.
here in Dublin? Were you in at the first one as well? Did you play the first one as well?
Oh, no, this was the second one, not cancelled.
No, no, we played the second one. So our first game last season was up there,
I
And
wouldn't
that
play that one.
finished, yeah, that finished 33-16. And
No,
then
play that one.
then the Giants came down to Dublin and it finished 6-0.
Must have played the second one. Everything is just a
I
blur
think
right now.
I I think that was the debut as well of like the first run out of like their new away shirts as well, like the white ones with the big McDonald M's on the shoulders as well. That's the one thing I remember from those like away shirts.
Maybe. Yes, the McDonald's jersey that we
Yeah.
weren't technically sponsored by them at that point. We had been previously, but we hadn't fulfilled the sponsorship. There's like, let's slap a McDonald's on the away kit. Must have played that one, but my head is a sieve. Time
It's
time is
grand.
not a concept that I have a grasp on.
It's grand. Don't worry about it. But no, I think I remember. See, this is the problem. Because we both play defense. So like when I'm on the sideline,
Mhm.
if you would have been on the pitch, I'm not really paying attention to that. We're talking about what we
Yeah.
need to do. And I guess it's the same on the Giants sideline as well. You'd be talking about what you need to do, and you might get a chance to watch a little bit of it. But
Yeah.
that's the problem with both playing on the same sides of the ball. But played for the Jets this year. You know, a tough year for numerous reasons. Obviously, of course, the team going 0-8. A lot of
Yeah.
changes as well before the season started too. And then of course, which we'll get into it in a little bit, but obviously some personal in terms of just for yourself, in terms of injury as well. But in terms of just the team as a whole with the Jets and, making the move over, obviously, like you mentioned, just for travel reasons, most alone, just to sort of be a little more local and not spending your whole Sunday in a car going to and from training. Um, how did you find the first year up in Division One?
Tough, but that's what everyone doesn't realize. Like, yes, it's division, yes, like a lot of what I would say is like the SBC players still, the anything under SBC, oh, it's rubbish, it's this, it's that. It's tough. Um, you know, you knew it was going to be going in. The standard was going to be so much higher. Um, the just even like the size of the guys and the size of the teams were going to be kind of a hurdle that you had to get across. But it was it was really good in terms of like character building. You never want to be on a completely losing season. But like I said before, it's like I'd rather lose and play than stand on the sidelines. It was playing nearly every defensive snap, going up against the likes of the Rhinos, who are a former SBC team. It was, yes, there was big score lines, but it's you came away with like the small victories of this person did that better, this person did this better. I know for me it was like my understanding of the game got better as we went on, which yourself, it's if you can find a silver lining from a not great game, that's the bonus, and that's what you need to focus on, and then take that into the next one and the next one and the next one.
Yeah, yeah, and um, playing in the position that you're playing as well as linebacker with such a vital position and sort of the type of position that you need to be able to scan the field and sort of understand what's going to happen in terms of run or pass and where you're going to need to be. were you able to sort of transfer any of your skills and experience from playing rugby into that position that helped?
Sort of. You know, my issue with like scanning the field was I'm 5'4". I can't see over a lot of the big people in front of me. So it was a lot of it was the main thing you take from rugby is your tackling. I tried to do that as best I could. A lot of times, a lot of very, very fast people got past me, and no tackle was made, or they were missed, or I was just run over. But it's one of those. There's some transferable skills in fitness, in tackle, in communication, but a lot of it was new in a sense of how strategic you have to think, and being able to track properly, and even formations. Rugby, you're just in a line. Maybe you get like a pot of three that carries in, but you're in a line on offense or defense. You're never having to track a player behind you, get your body in a certain way to possibly disrupt the pass. I think like my my biggest skill that probably scared the bejesus out of some of the guys, especially in training, was just how loud I can shout. A lot of them weren't prepared for this like scream of pass at a 5'4" person. It was like, where the fuck did that come from?
I know. Well, then let's then talk about towards the end of the season and obviously the unfortunate injury to sort of cut your season short. You know, do you want to talk about it? Sort of what led to it, sort of how the recovery has been and things since then.
Yeah, it was nothing really cool that you'd love to be able to say, like, oh, I was making this tackle this guy, and just everything went to shit. My foot got stuck in the ground when I was going to engage at an extra point. My foot got stuck in the ground and it folded like a deck chair. Which was not fun. And shout out to Lindsay McVeigh, because she got it on video and sent it to me because my dad wanted to see it. But it's, dislocated kneecap, not fun. I had probably 3 knees where one was with the size of swelling. Yeah, it's recovery's a bitch no matter what injury you have. I'm sitting, what this is, happened 14th of May. We're nearly at the end of August, and I'm like just getting back into the gym, hopefully fully cleared from physio in about 6 weeks, fingers crossed. And then it's, just head down in the gym, build it back up, and yeah, just try and get to a stage where I'm healthy again.
Mm-hmm. And is the plan to come back and play again next year?
Hard,
Not
no.
next year, maybe take a
Hard,
year out.
begrudging. That was actually a big discussion I had with my dad about it all. Because that took 7 weeks for like the initial recovery, and that was 7 weeks of not driving, 7 weeks of not working, and like having to rely on my mum or dad or even friends to like take me to the shop because I wanted to get a drink. That was the thing. And my lovely knee surgeon in the hospital, who was just like, oh yeah, you don't need surgery, it's great, but just know that your knee could pop out at any time now. It's like, yeah, really,
Jesus.
your people skills are wonderful. Don't know how you got into the medical profession, but it's not worth the risk at the minute
Mhm.
of it happening again. And the knee surgeon was like, you're lucky that you don't need surgery this time, but it could happen again, and we might have to just cut you open, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I'd love to be able to say, yeah, I'm back to being able to play, but it's not worth the risk.
That's fair. That's fair. Is the plan to still sort of be involved though in some way? I know obviously your social media skills. Anyone that would follow either the Jets last year, the Giants the year before that, or seem to follow your stuff personally, would know that you do a lot of stuff for social media. So is that the sort of side you'd like to stay involved with?
I haven't decided yet. I was thinking of like just fully stepping back and being a fan, you know,
Okay.
working with the guys with to have Greenzone and really push to promote the season, like the income season. You know, I would like to be able to step back and do all that and go to all these different games as a fan and watch and really enjoy it. So at the minute, the plan is no involvement and just chilling out. But
Mhm.
it's one that again after a year or so could change.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. I think the freedom, I guess, of being a fan and choosing where you want to go on a Sunday to which game you want to watch, I think is a nice one to have, especially for a year. But like you said, and we'll talk about it, you've got into the podcast game. You've tried to topple the king here and missed last season. And now you set up the second podcast and then tried to join and make a brain trust, which was the right decision. But I'm but I'm only messing. How have you found though? Getting into podcasting and talking about the league each week, either having guests on or just reviewing games.
It's been a lot of fun because, whenever you're playing, you kind of focus on the teams in your division. You kind of that's your sole focus to be like, okay, this player plays like this, la di da. But it's been fun to broaden that and get probably get to know a lot more players and teams around the league and be able to talk about them, be able to have a point to say if we have, someone on the Mavericks on, we can be like, oh, in this game, you know, Alex Sims did this player did that. I don't know many of their names. I apologize, Mavericks. Alex was the first one that came to mind. But it's been fun to kind of get on an analytical level. Um and it's the main point of us even continuing Green Zone after that kerfuffle um, was to promote the league. We've talked about it a wee bit. It's we originally weren't planning on doing Green Zone, and then the three of us were getting messages from players being like, are you still doing the show? Because it's really fun and good to listen to. It's awesome that teams are getting talked about." And I was like, I kind of have to do it now, don't we? So that it's fun that something that we're working on and we're still trying to figure everything out is wanted and is being received well by teams and players.
Yeah, for sure. Look, the three of you have done a fantastic job this year. Obviously, like you mentioned, after the nicely worded kerfuffle Earlier on. Uh, you like you said, you could have just sort of gone back and maybe focused on either your own sort of stuff and maybe just taking a break because it was kind of so new that show was too, and for it to
Yeah.
have you know three of its main hosts gone, it was a good thing to keep them going. And like you say, it just shows that you know everyone knows about Greenzone.
Mhm.
Everyone knows yourself, Dave, Chris, even just with what setting up even a fantasy league, having players from the league like you did last night, setting up that, or I know it wasn't you guys directly to set up the new Discord, but even just seeing the new Discord and having
Mhm.
that there too now with as many people as it is now. I think it's well over 100, isn't it, in that
I
Discord at
think
this
so,
stage
yeah.
now? Yeah.
Although I
Um.
do love that every now and again you see a form of Aidan Maguire joining the Discord with different names and all like that, and you're sitting there, it's like, but is it actually him?
Yeah.
It's a fun
It's
game to play.
joining at the worst times because it's quiet now. The season's over, so there's no point at this stage. No one's talking anymore. Um, but like that, I think what's been great with that as well, and like I said, with the podcasts, highlighting the league more this year, I think it has gotten people more familiar with other teams and other players on other teams. I'll be the same as you, Chrissy. Before this season, I wouldn't have focused outside of our league, and I probably wouldn't have known many players' names outside of my own team either. So it's been good to sort of, for people to get their names out there, and it's you know, hopefully next season, you know, our podcast and your podcast can push you on and make it even better. Um, and I believe there's a studio in the works too as well for you, so you never know.
Yeah.
That,
Chris
you
had
know.
to bargain that with his missus for the renovations. He's just like, "Look, you get a walk-in pantry. It's really nice. All I want is this small area." But it'll be good, then we can do the odd show, actually, all 3 of us in the same place. I think we'll probably
Yeah.
end up test driving it towards the end of the NFL season, and that's depending on how the renovations go. Like we were all saying, like what Chris should use his new renovation house for. And we're like, why don't we just make it into like an AFI reality show, like one person from every team, and just film it like Love Island style?
That's it. It's proper like Big Brother there, See who
Yeah.
see who can eliminate who first. That'd be actually a good one with little tasks and everything involved too. Um, you know, Somehow you'd have to get Owen involved in that too to set up tasks or
Oh yeah.
something. Or I don't know. He'll have to do that. But look, focusing then on yourself, you mentioned about earlier on in the interview about getting interested in football and stuff, and you know on the NFL side of things, I think you mentioned to me before that you're more of a, instead of a team fan, I guess you're more of a Christian McCaffrey fan. So kind of where he goes
Yes.
is who you're following. So you're following
Yeah,
those
kind of.
dirty 49ers
I
at the moment. So
In fairness, I stood by the Panthers for a long time, and it was very disappointing. So, I needed a fresh start of hope.
you know how Christian feels now anyway, for sure.
Exactly.
but But like that, for in going into this season now with the 49ers, are you hopeful that they can make it to a Super Bowl this year? It's actually in Vegas
I
this year,
am.
which is could be a good trip.
Yeah. I if they can sort out the contract nonsense with Nick Bosa, I'll be a lot more hopeful. But it's the proved what they could do last year, and their big run up to the playoffs was with Mr. Irrelevant, and he did not look out of place whenever whenever you have a team with so many weapons, like McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, you, Kuzchak, you've got all that, and that's
Mhm.
the good foundation of here we have a chance. So if they can just like bottle up what they did in the run up to the playoffs, but extend it and just keep everyone healthy, then I can see us getting into the Super Bowl, and I will go mental if we do.
It's weird though. I find it weird with the 49ers. They spent so much just to get that pick on Trey Lance. They've dumped
Mm,
Trey Lance now at this stage. That team should be falling apart. They spent so much just to get him and it didn't work. But yet the team is actually the team is loaded everywhere with, like you said, Nick Bosa, you got Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, the wide receivers of Ayuk and Debo, and then of course George Kittle. It's that team shouldn't be that good for what they just did to mess up on the quarterback position.
yeah. I don't think it was more so it was a mess up. It was Trey Lance looked good coming out of college, and then he got injured, then was
Mm.
healthy, then got injured. And you're looking at someone like his up until like the preseason games there, like his last competitive reps, I think were 2019, because then the college season in 2020 dwindled, and then I'm pretty sure he got drafted
No, he
21.
played he played the first game of last season against the Bears, which they lost, and then he played some of the second game against the Seahawks, and that's when he got injured and missed the
Mm.
rest of last season. So he's
Yes,
only
yes,
really
yes, yes.
had one and a bit competitive games. But I know what you mean. He hasn't had enough
Yeah,
reps.
yeah, and it's one of those. It's, do you cut your losses at this point? You've got Brock Purdy, who's shown what he can do in high pressure situations. The downside last season was that he got injured, on his throwing arm, which he rehabbed. And from looking at the preseason games, he's healthy. He can throw. He's looking like he did last year. But then it's, you've got Darnold, that he's got the playing experience. Maybe it's the Shanahan bubble of, he like Darnold will develop, and this will be his standout season for if he has to play. A big if, but it's that someone you have confidence in that can step in when needed to. Trey Lance is just there as a filler, to be honest. And even if they did get rid of him, they're not going to get much for him. So it's a catch 22. Do you sell him and get nothing, or do you keep him as a seat filler?
I say they're going to keep him. They have to, because I
Mm,
don't think anyone's going to trade him for sure. No one's going
no.
to, like they'd be lucky to get a day 3 pick for him.
Yeah.
Um, But look, we'll have to wait and see. But look, Chrissy, it's been fantastic as always to talk to you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are you sort of, you know, either it's well known or it's not well known, because it's kind of hard because obviously, our show and your show chat, and you know, are you looking forward to covering the league next year after the other kerfuffles that have been going on?
The other kerfuffles. The
The other kerfuffles,
I was
the
gonna I
other
was gonna try
gates.
and like, yeah. The
Yeah.
I am. It's players have enjoyed our coverage, teams have enjoyed our coverage. We're here to promote the league. We're here to promote the teams and the players and get eyes on them. Um, we're going to do our best, you know, given any limitations we had, we're not the quote unquote league official media. We aren't funded by the league. We're doing this solely just to have fun, to be like, here, that person's a good player, you should go watch that match. We're going to do our best, and I'm really looking forward to it because we can only build on what we created towards the end of last season. And yeah, we have the ability and the we have the personability to be like the teams. Do you have room on your bus? Because we'd really like to come down to your game and like promote it on our socials, and because it's going to be a class game and we think you should get the attention you deserve. You know, I I don't want to be seen as throwing stones again, but it's the league and their media, they shared everyone else's stuff but didn't promote their own game themselves up until SBC. That was the first time you really saw the league go like hammer in their own promotion. So if we have to be the ones to do it up until that point again, we'll happily do it. We're gonna just trudge on with our heads down to make sure that this season, like this incoming season, is promoted as well as we can.
Mm-hmm. No, fully agree. And look, the one great thing about not being affiliated is you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. Post
I
whatever you want.
try. I try to say what I want, and then Chris and Dave were like, maybe dial it down a wee bit. It's like I need to vent. It's we all have our lines, and it's just when we're limited in what we can do, it's a real kick in the teeth because we just want to continue to do what we've been doing. And we're going to try our best to be able to do that each week and provide the same, if not better, product this incoming season. And all we can ask is that the players and the teams, like they get on board with not only
Yeah,
ours but yours. Get involved with the brain trust, because we just want to highlight good teams and good players to
yeah,
random people on the internet.
yeah. And I think that's it. And I think, look, this season has been a year of, laying the foundation. And I think now
Yeah.
next year we can build on that and start, like that. The teams know who we are. I feel like the teams trust us, that they know if they come on that they're getting a good interview, that they're getting they're going to get promoted. Even if it is just like full-time scores at the end of it, if we are at a game updating the stories and stuff like that too, which you've been able to do. So yeah, I think and like that, the more people we can get at games showing it, the more eyes we can show it on social media, the more eyes we can probably get more people down, either to play or to spectate, and that's all you want to do. So all I want to do is just to grow the game. And like that saying, if we feel like we kind of have to do it ourselves, we will, and that's fine. We just need like what 12% credit or something like that. We'll call it something like that. Well,
Just an acknowledgement.
yeah, yeah. Just send us a tag every now and again, or like that when you're down and up in Loud again. Yeah, just have that kebab pizza there for us, and then it'll be all good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which the lads are always
Pizza
good for that. They are always
parties.
good for that.
Oh
They
yeah.
are. But like I said, Chrissy, it's been absolutely fantastic to speak to you. I know people listen to it already know where to find Greenzone, but if they don't, where can they find either the podcast, or where can they find any of the Greenzone socials?
So we are on YouTube and Instagram. Do I know our proper tag? No, because I am unprepared. So we are Greenzone Ireland on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Spotify. So we will be providing more regular content for the upcoming season, but like I said, we were kind of thrown in the deep end towards the end of last season, and you got what you got.
Yeah. Look, you got full off season now to prepare for next year, so expecting big things, and expecting whatever happens with the divisions. I'm expecting you down at a few Pirates games for sure now next year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
the plan. We will
yeah.
get there. Or at least I will because the boys will be playing.
That's it. Maybe they might be off that week, but they'll probably be training. But we'll see anyway. Like I said, that's where we're going to wrap up this edition of the show. If you haven't already, make sure you have liked this video, and if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe right now. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Under Center Podcast. You'll get the audio version of this show. You can also go to our socials at Under Center Pod, Twitter and Instagram, or is it X now, whatever that website is called. You can go to us and find us there. And we will have more episodes of New Women in AFI series coming up for you soon. And also we will be doing our usual NFL weekly show as the season is drawing nearer and nearer. September the 11th, is it September the 12th? No, 10th. September the 10th. Sunday, September the 10th, obviously the big kickoff
Yes.
for that too. And make sure you stick to our socials because we will have some exciting announcements over the coming weeks in regards to the show and the NFL coverage. But until next time, stay safe and we'll see you soon.
Bye.